Greetings, my fellow hunters, and welcome again. And I know what you guys are thinking from reading the title down below. Hunter, haven't you done so many isekais last year? And to answer that question, yes. But thanks to a friend that I've finally been able to watch the anime, Konosuba. So, I thought, as a thanks to him, I will review it for you now. So, my hunters, as I always say, let the hunt begin. So, what is the story of Konosuba? Well, it's an isekai. Let's start off with that. But besides that, it basically follows the story of Kazuma, a unremarkable NEET who basically died in our world and was transported to another world, but the way he got there was, let's face it, more humiliating than I've ever died in Yarnum. Basically what happens, on his way back from getting a figure from another town, he basically pushed a girl out of the way from being run over. But, here's the quicker one, the girl was in no danger at all. It was just a slow-moving tractor, and the way Kazuma died was basically of a heart attack and wetting himself. So basically he went out in a most humiliating way possible, by a heart attack, by nothing, and wetting his trousers. My god, he is a coward, and I've faced scarier. But besides my cowardice, he then is met up with the goddess Aqua, a benevolent goddess, who basically is about to transport him to another world, but offered him one wish of any item or anything he so desired. And Aqua was a bit of a meanie to him, yes, I know, childish, but so Kazuma basically wished for her to go with him to the next world. She laughed it off and basically thought it was preposterous, but the wish was within the rules. So she, along with Kazuma, got transported to the other world, and now it is his duty to face the Demon King, defeat his army, and bring natural peace back to the world. And that's it in terms of story. It's basically bog standard, but what makes it great is that basically it's just a funhouse of what can go wrong. That's just basically the whole of the series. All the shenanigans that's happening and basically what Kazuma can do just to survive this. It's also funny, and I think my friend can attest I laughed all the way through because of how funny it was. I just loved seeing the misery that the characters went through. And that's the aspect of comedy. Misery. Seeing everything go wrong from basically Aqua's, how do I put this in the nicest words? Foolishness is just basically the best way to put it, because she always somehow, one way or another, cocks it up. Compared to Kazuma, her luck and her intelligence are really below average for someone. You'd think with a goddess she'd be a little bit smarter, but sadly she's not exactly the cleanest water in the tank, if you catch my drift. Water jokes. Anyway, the point is, what I'm trying to say is that the story is very good. It's simple, but the simple framing of the story actually lands its strength and actually makes it funny. Speaking of which, I have to talk about the characters. So, as we always move on to the characters next. As usual, I will be talking about the four main protagonists, and just as a little forewarning, I may sound like I hate the characters, but I assure you, I do not. Okay, that's a bit of a lie. I don't like them, but I also like them a little bit, so it evens out for me. I don't mind them. They suit the story perfectly fine. But I'm just highlighting this in case anybody writes down in the comments saying I hate it, which I don't. I'm just putting this out, so yeah. I don't mind the characters. They're fine. So we'll start off with basically the main protagonist of the series, Kazuma. So, who is Kazuma? Well, that's a simple question. Kazuma is the main protagonist of the series, and before he came to the world, he was basically what we would academically call a NEET. He was basically stuck at the home most of the time, not going to school and just shutting himself from society, and he basically lived with his parents. No complaining here. But anyway, before Kazuma was that, he was also a bit of a... How do I put that? Okay, I'm gonna say it. He's a bit of a perv, a creep, and I'm gonna not mince my words here, a douchebag. He is absolutely 100% vile to the other characters, but somehow you can almost justify it with what he's going with. I'll get onto that in a second. But anyway, yeah. Kazuma is just basically a meanie. He's just a douche. I'm not gonna mince my words. He's a douchebag. He's cruel. He is basically also very cunning, which is also a good thing. He's very smart, and that lends to him being lazy, but that laziness actually is his strength, since he's able to do things or find strategic ways of making complicated things simpler. So it's easy for that. My main issue is that, again, he's a bit of a douchebag, but like I said before, you're kind of justifiable with what he's got, especially with a certain goddess. Speaking of which, next up, as I said before, we have the goddess Aqua. Oh. And before I say anything else, I find Aqua one of the most irritating characters that ever grace my screens. She is horribly pompous and arrogant. You'd think for a goddess she'd be benevolent, kind, respectful, and loving, but she's everything but that. She's a whining, complaining, lazy, over-pompous goddess who couldn't even basically do anything without you so much as complaining with her. Oh god, the amount of time she gets the group into situations then she gets out is almost laughable. I feel like she's just basically the annoying one for the comedic sake. She's the comedic slapstick of the group, and I feel like that's true. And I know the others are also, but I feel like she is where all the butt of the jokes go. And watching it kind of reinforced my suspicion on that. Yeah, I wouldn't exactly say Aqua is the best. But she's not, well, I'd say the other two are still good. Next up, we have the masochist of the group, Darkness. And that is all. Yep. She is just the masochist of the group. Basically the proverbial wall, if I must be so frank. She basically just likes to take damage, hence why in her stats she has high defenses but low attack, which means she more often misses her target than she hits them. You'd think you'd like to have a balance of attack and defense, but no, she decided to go more defense than attack, which you'd think, why would you want to be that? And like I said, that's all to her character. I would list more, but I'd be just dragging on for the sake of dragging on, which I am currently doing right now because I want to stretch this out to a minute. Next character, Megumin, the last of the group. And for the final one of the group, Megumin. Megumin is what would you call a Chumbuyuno or Chimbuyuna, or however you pronounce it. Basically, she believes that she's more powerful than she thinks she is and acts in a cool and fancy way, thinking it's cool and awesome, but more the line brings her more cringeworthy. She is not too much of the butt of the jokes, and she is the second least annoying character in this entire series. And yeah, that's all I can talk about her, since there's nothing much to the character except that she loves big explosions, and hence why she just learned explosion spells, despite the fact that explosion spells are costly powerful. Again, costly powerful because, yeah, they're strong, but she's basically what we would call a glass cannon. She's only good for one attack, and then she's useless. People wonder why I don't like glass cannon builds a lot of the time, but besides my pet peeve, yeah. Megumin is okay, that's as much as I can talk about her. Now, as much as you think I complained about the characters, I don't necessarily hate them. They fit the story perfectly fine. The whole point is to show the mismatch of the characters, how basically one's a glass cannon, the other is a wall that can't hit anything, the other is a useless archpriest, and a pointless but fairly powerful thief. And I can't talk about other characters, like how one character called Yunyun wants to basically challenge Megumin to everything, and she doesn't have any friends, so she always puts on a facade that she has friends, and that's all interesting. Every character is interesting and has their own little backstory for reasons of why they do these things. I could go on, but for the sake of this, I find the characters in Konosuba quite entertaining, and they fit the narrative of the story perfectly, and thank God this is a comedy, because if it wasn't, I would be having much more negative things to say about it, because if I had to actually deal with someone like Aqua, Kazuma, and the others in an actual serious series, I would have lost my mind before the first episode ended. So yeah, overall, I think the characters are just perfectly fine. So, as for animation of Konosuba, I have to say this, Konosuba is definitely up there when it comes to being animated. It is perfect. Well, almost perfect. Nothing's truly perfect, but either way, I find the animation of the series to be excellently done. The animation is basically spongy, but at the same time, it's very expressive. The simplistic art style lends much to its beautiful and gorgeous visuals, which really do help amplify it a lot. And thank goodness for the simplest art style, because like I said, it would have been probably a little difficult to animate and probably a bit more dips than troughs. But thankfully, as far as I could saw, it was just a lot of peaks. Nothing but peaks. I loved the animation. It was stupendous. The best way I can explain it is that basically the skeletal animation is very well done, and the expressions that the characters emit are brilliant. You could literally feel the fear, the joy, the anger, the anguish, and so on, and so on, and so on. It's so well done that I really have nothing much to complain about. It's colorful, it's bright, and that's what I love sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I love miserably and dark settings sometimes, but for me, having a nice bright series like this really is refreshing. So yeah, in my general opinion, the animation in Konosuba is fantastic. As for the music, I have a lot of positive things to say about it. It's very well done. It does its job very well. It's very upbeat, colorful, and you just have a lot of emotion to it. It actually has, how do I put this in good words that I can actually explain? It just has a nice upbeat feel to it and an adventurous tone. Like, what's the group going to do next? It's just so excellently put done. I gotta say, I have nothing much to complain about the music. It's well done, it's upbeat, and has a nice good tempo to it. And I'd say for music, that is important. Yep, so generally my thoughts on the music is that it's well executed. Thank you very much, Konosuba, for actually putting me in a good mood while listening to it. Anyway, I think I've harped about the music long enough, don't you think, guys? So, my hunters, what do I think of Konosuba? You want my general opinion? I loved it. I liked the comedy. I loved the action. I just love the animation and everything about it. But it comes with that but. I can understand if some people are going to be put off with the characters because I got used to it after a short bit of time, but that's me. So unless you are used to such things, I would advise caution watching the series, but that's just me being a cautious hunter. After all, you gotta be cautious when you're hunting. But in general, I think the series does live up to its reputation of being a very good isekai. And with a sludge of isekai anime coming out, especially now in 2021, man, this will be dated after the year, I still think it holds up to be one of the better upper echelon isekais, up there with Re:Zero, Overlord, and others of the other more popular ones. So yeah, in my general opinion, give Konosuba a watch if you can, because it's not everywhere as I suspect it to be, because where I live, I couldn't watch it until a friend who actually has it in his country was able to stream it for me, and I was able to watch it. So I appreciate him greatly. If you're watching this, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you very much for letting me watch the anime that I've been wanting to watch but haven't had the opportunity. But I'm just shouting at my friend anyway. But besides that, I think I need to say it again. Go watch it. You'll enjoy it. But be cautious because I don't think it's for everyone. But hey, that's just me. What do you think, my hunters? Leave a comment down below. Give me a like and subscribe. Follow me on my Twitter down below. Discord links and my Twitch account too. And I'm going to try to stream more often. And please help me reach 100 subscribers before the year's end because I want to reach at least that amount before 2022. Anyway, my hunters, I thank you. And as I always say, may the good blood guide your way.